Let me make that very clear right now. What happened in Gaza is not a genocide.
So you know better than genocide scholars?
Oh, I'm sorry. Everyone's a genocide scholar. In light of everyone being a genocide scholar, I have friends that are genocide scholars.
We're close to now a death toll of 69,000 people slaughtered in Gaza.
Then that's 0.97 people per building.
I really don't want to yell, but you keep interrupting, and it makes it difficult for me to make my point when you're interrupting me. So please stop doing that. I don't want to yell. Well, Zionist propagandist Emily Austin refused to accept the massive number of people Israel slaughtered in Gaza when we had our debate back in October. And I am happy to report that, maybe, just maybe, she will accept reality now that her precious IDF has confirmed the death toll determined by the Palestinian Health Ministry in Gaza.
So before we give you all the facts about this, I want you to think about two things. First of all, I guess now IDF is Hamas. Now, why do I say that? Because when I've debated Israel 100 times on all these different shows, I was told that if you quote the Hamas numbers, you are Hamas. So apparently, interesting turn of events there. Secondly, towards the end of the story, I'm going to tell you about Operation Consequences. So we're launching that now, and what that means is for politicians who keep giving our money to a genocidal government that is now admitted that they've murdered over 71,000 people, we're gonna vote them out, and there's gonna be political consequences. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but first let's tell you about the heart of the story.
So this is a report by an Israeli publication, Haaretz. We talk about it all the time. I know it's pronounced Haaretz. I'm gonna pronounce it like an American would. But nonetheless, they note that the IDF has finally accepted the Gaza Health Ministry's estimate that approximately 70,000 Palestinians have been killed since October 2023. Now, of course, the death toll is actually much higher than that. I'll explain why in just a minute. But looking at the breakdown of the data from the health ministry as of January 26, let's take a look. You'll see that they note that 71,660 people have been killed. At least 171,419 Palestinians have been injured, many with life-altering wounds. That's 1 out of every 14 people in Gaza, and I don't think that's an accident. And since the ceasefire, 486 Palestinians have been killed. And since the ceasefire, another 1,341 Palestinians have been injured. Now, it's important to note that the number of those killed does not include missing individuals who are still trapped under the rubble. The National Committee for Missing Persons estimate that the number is around 10,000 people who are trapped under the rubble. It could be higher. There are other things to keep in mind as well, including the ministry's tally does not include other individuals. Like for instance, it includes only those killed directly by Israeli military fire in its tracking. They do not count the people who died of starvation, for instance, because of Israel's blockade and unwillingness to allow humanitarian aid into the Strip. They also don't include people who died as a result of diseases that were exacerbated or spread as a result of the war.
Like dysentery that spreads in situations like this. They're also not counting the people the babies who died in the incubators when they pulled the plugs on them. And all the people who were sick in the hospitals that once they bombed the hospitals or cut the electricity, died in the hospitals. So why do you think they're accepting this number? That's very unusual, right? Normally, this Israeli government lies about 100% of the time. So the reason they're accepting this number is because the real number is much, much higher.
You took my point away. You took my point away. That was the point I was gonna make, Cenk.
Well, we agree.
Damn it. Okay. No, I do think the number is much higher. Now, the records published by the Gaza Ministry of Health identify over 90% of the bodies by name and identification numbers, but do not distinguish between militants and civilians. But the Substack Untangling Threads released a really fascinating analysis that does jive with the IDF's own internal data, by the way, which shows that the majority of people who have been killed are in fact civilians. civilians. So this is an analysis in October of last year that argued that the real number as of October of 2025, of course, was closer to 130,000 people killed. And this is when you take into consideration, the undercount rate for violent deaths, which is what the GHS looks at specifically, and the estimate of indirect deaths. So that's the starvation and disease that was created by Israel as a result of their operations there. And remember, the IDF's own data indicates that they were only able to identify, out of everyone they killed, they were only able to name and identify, what was it? So 83% of people that they killed, they couldn't identify them as combatants. The rest, they were able to name and identify as combatants, meaning that 83% of people that they killed, based on their own data, were not combatants.
Yeah, 83% is the worst ratio of any terrorist group in the world.
Yeah.
It's worse than Hamas, worse than Al-Qaeda. We are funding a terrorist organization, there's no question about it. And today the EU goes out there and is talking about, we're now gonna call the Iranian Revolutionary Guard terrorists. Fine, they might meet some definition of terrorism, I'm not worried about that. But basically that's a prelude to, we now have to invade Iran for Israel. Why?
Because we care about protesters.
No, because Israel's an obviously much bigger terrorist entity than the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Just the sheer numbers are not close, let alone the number of kids that they murdered, let alone the number of aid workers, the reporters, etc. So, but our government tells us, don't believe your lying eyes. You see Gaza is all rubble, right? And now they're pulling out dead bodies one by one from the rubble. And our media tells us, no, Israel is the victim. And the Palestinians are super powerful terrorists that are terrorizing the poor little Israelis. I mean, it's mass lies over and over again, which then now we come to the point of the Israel first guys that we debate. By the way, everyone who likes Israel is not Israel first. They can say, hey, I like Israel, I have some affinity to it, etc. But I'm not obsessed with it. I think there are other issues. I'm not defending everything they've done. So I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about Israel first. So those are the guys that are the pundits, the ones you see on TV. They are all liars. 100% of them are liars, and they lie about almost every single issue. So they all lied about these numbers in mass. Oh, Hamas, you're all terrorists. You love terrorists for quoting these numbers. So what happened now? Are they all gonna apologize? Are they all going to say, oh yes, we were giant liars and we were sent on Piers Morgan and every other show to lie on behalf of Israel, and now we have our new lies after this one, okay? So they have no credibility, nothing. If you see someone defending Israel on TV, they're doing propaganda for Israel. Their mission, which they were given by the government of Israel, is to deceive you. And why did they murder more journalists than all other conflicts combined in the world? Because they don't want you to see that the Palestinians are obviously the victims and the Israelis are obviously the oppressors, committing far worse terrorism than any terrorist organization in the world. Those are empirical, verifiable facts. If it hurts your feelings that Israel is this terrorist entity, take it up with Israel, not the journalists that they murdered to hide that fact. So, but I'm glad the IDF has now agreed to one thing that is relatively true. So congratulations, Israel. Your whole government, they've said one true thing in the last 2-3 years, okay? And again, it's a massive undercount. That's why they're agreeing to it now. And I guarantee you, you can quote me on this and you'll see it with your own eyes. Later, when the count goes up much higher because of the starvation and mainly the people they're pulling out of the rubble, they'll say, before we said it was 71,000 and now they're saying it's 90,000 or 110,000. They're just inflating their numbers. And they're doing that that's what this is about, for future propaganda.
100%, I totally agree with you. So you know what? Allow the journalists into the Gaza Strip so they can do reporting on the ground. But they're blocked, right? And all the journalists that were in Gaza were slaughtered by the IDF. I wonder why. Gee, I wonder why. Final thing I'll read real quick, because I just got to read Piers Morgan's post on X about this. He says, for over 2 years, most of my pro-Israel guests have angrily denied the Gaza Health Ministry's casualty numbers and said they were widely exaggerated. Now the IDF has accepted they're accurate. Piers, I appreciate you posting that. But moving forward, can you be a little more skeptical of the Israeli side. Just a little more skeptical of the Israeli side.
They're always lying. It's so obvious. Okay, but you know what, by the way, I also, Piers, next time I'm on with some Israel First goon, I'm demanding an apology. They lied, and I'd like them to apologize to the people that they lied to and pretended that we were supporting terrorism. Or they have to admit that the IDF is supporting terrorism.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, all right, last thing, guys. I promise you Operation Consequences. I'm tired of all of our politicians giving our money to Israel, as Israel itself now willy-nilly goes, yeah, we killed 71,000 people. Yeah, 83% of them were civilians. Yeah, so what? So give me more of your money. Okay, I want a new memorandum of understanding for 10 or 20 years. I want $100 billion. Trump just gave me 12 billion, it's not enough. Biden gave me 21 billion, it's not enough. I want more, I want more. Now there's gotta be consequences. Now we're nonviolent, peaceful always. We're nonpartisan on this issue, the whole country agrees. So what are the consequences? Easy, political consequences. That's what should be in a democracy. So it's called operationconsequences.com. And what all we're asking you to do is sign a pledge on two things. One is, if one of our so-called representatives in Congress takes money from AIPAC or the Israeli lobby, make a pledge to never vote for them, because they're literally saying, I'm not your representative, I'm Israel's representative. And the second pledge is, if these guys going forward, because in the past then you'd have to eliminate all of Congress, but going forward, if you give Israel another $1, we're never gonna vote for you. If you want to cry about it, I don't care. Go ahead and cry. Oh, but I wanted to take your money, even though we're 38 trillion in debt. I wanted to take your money, by the way, borrowed from China and make you pay interest the rest of your life, and hand it over to Israel because they're committing a genocide. And I love genocides as long as Israel's doing it. So I'm gonna force you to pay for it. Okay, great. Now there's going to be political consequences. You give one more $1 of ours to Israel, and we're gonna vote you out. And guys, it's so simple. Because the way that they trick you is, oh, are you gonna vote for a Republican if you're a Democrat? Ha, you can't vote for him. If you're a Republican, you're gonna vote for a Democrat? Ha, no. That's what primaries are for. So Republicans go into your Republican primaries and vote against anyone who says, I am representing Israel and not you. Democrats do likewise, go into your primaries and vote against any Democrat. And yes, that includes 94% of Congress now. It doesn't have to include 94% of Congress later. And in fact, at operationconsequences.com, if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a list of legislators now, Congress people, who now do not take money from the Israeli lobby. This is a new phenomenon, because what happened? We caught them. And now you shine a spotlight on them and go, oh, look at all the money you took from a foreign government, and look at all our money you gave to that foreign government. Oh, all of a sudden they're a little embarrassed. They got caught with their hand in the genocide jar. So now there's gonna be consequences. Vote out all the bums. And by the way, again, almost all the incumbents, not all of them, but almost all of them, are totally serve Israel, don't care about you at all, and the job of establishment media is to trick you. Honestly, for a lot of online media too. Oh, vote for the Democrat, vote for the Republican, they're the good guys, they're the good guys. That's just, everything about that is fraudulent. They both support Israel at the end. No, operationconsequences.com, not another$.com. They both go to the same place. We're tired of it. We're doing the most peaceful American nonviolent protest you could possibly do. So go out there and make sure that we get representatives of us, the American people, and not the Israeli people, and stop giving our money to these genocidal maniacs. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets its wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.